"We're not married, you don't own me," she said at the bar when I asked why she gave her number. "I'm writing this at 3 in the morning because sleep isn't happening tonight. My apartment is half empty. My hands won't stop shaking, and I keep replaying the same conversation over and over in my head. It's been 6 hours since I walked out of Apex Lounge, 4 hours since I started packing, and about 2 hours since I realized I was actually going through with this. The crazy part is I feel calm. Not happy. Not sad. Just eerily calm in a way that makes me wonder if I'm in shock. Hello friends, before I continue the story, please support the channel by becoming a subscriber and giving the video a like. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching right now. Let me back up. Tonight started normal enough. It was supposed to be a chill Saturday evening at Apex, this upscale spot downtown that Simone had been wanting to check out for weeks. Me, Simone, my boy Darius, his girl Taylor, and a couple of their friends from work. Nothing major, just drinks and good vibes. I'd been looking forward to it all week because work had been brutal and I just needed to decompress with my people. Simone had been in a good mood lately, or at least I thought she had been, so I figured we'd have a good time. I should have known better. We got there around 9, grabbed a big table near the back, and started with appetizers and cocktails. Simone looked good. She always does. Wearing this black dress that she'd bought last month and hadn't had a chance to wear yet. Everyone was talking and laughing, and for the first hour, everything was smooth. I was on my second old-fashioned, feeling relaxed, just enjoying being out with my woman and my friends. Then Simone said she was going to the bar to order another drink because the waitress was taking too long. I watched her walk to the bar, not because I was checking up on her, but because that's what you do when you love somebody. You watch them move through a room and feel proud that they're with you. She got to the bar and started talking to the bartender, this light-skinned dude with a fade and sleeve tattoos, the kind of guy who probably thinks he's God's gift. At first, it looked like normal bartender-customer interaction. She was pointing at the menu, he was nodding, making the drink. But then she laughed at something he said, that high-pitched laugh she does when she's flirting, and my stomach dropped a little. I'm not the jealous type, never have been, but I know my woman. I know the difference between her regular laugh and her "I'm interested" laugh, and this was definitely the latter. She was leaning on the bar now, phone in her hand, and I watched the bartender hand her his phone. She typed something in. I could see her fingers moving, then handed it back to him with a smile. When she came back to the table with her drink, she was glowing. That satisfied look on her face like she'd just won something. "Took long enough," Taylor said, joking. "Yeah." The bartender was chatty, Simone said, sliding back into her seat next to me. I waited a beat, trying to decide if I should even say anything. Part of me wanted to let it go, pretend I didn't see what I just saw, but a bigger part of me knew that letting it slide would eat me alive. So I kept my voice casual, conversational, no accusation in my tone. "You two seem to hit it off," I said, taking a sip of my drink. She didn't even look at me. "Who, the bartender? He's cool. Made a good drink." "That all he made?" I asked, still keeping it light, even though my heart was starting to pound. Now she looked at me, and her eyes had this defensive edge already. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just looked like y'all were having a whole conversation up there." "We were," she said, her voice getting louder. "Is that a problem? Am I not allowed to talk to people now?" Darius was looking down at his phone, and Taylor suddenly became very interested in her nachos. The other two at the table were pretending they couldn't hear us, but the energy had shifted. I could feel everyone's discomfort radiating outward like heat. "I didn't say that," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I just noticed you gave him your number." The table went silent. Simone stared at me for a long moment, then let out this incredulous laugh. "Are you serious right now? Are you really doing this here?" "Doing what?" "I'm just asking a question." "You're trying to start something," she said, her voice rising. "You're trying to make me look bad in front of everybody because I had a friendly conversation with the bartender. You gave him your number, Simone. So what if I did?" She was loud now, loud enough that people at the next table were glancing over. "We're not married, Marcus. You don't own me. I can give my number to whoever I want." There it was. The words hung in the air like smoke. I felt Darius tense up next to me, felt Taylor's hand reach across the table like she was going to try to mediate, but I just sat there, processing. We're not married. You don't own me. Like I was some controlling psycho for noticing that my girlfriend of 2 years just gave her number to another man right in front of me. You're right, I said quietly. I don't own you. She blinked, clearly not expecting me to agree. Exactly. So stop acting like, we're not married, I continued, cutting her off. So you can do whatever you want. You're absolutely right about that. I stood up and pulled out my wallet, dropped $60 on the table to cover my portion of the tab and tip. Darius was staring at me, his eyes wide, and Taylor's mouth was literally hanging open. Simone was looking at me like I just slapped her. Where are you going? She demanded. Home. I'm tired. You're leaving? Are you kidding me right now? You're going to make a scene and then just leave. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in months I saw her clearly. Saw the way she only wanted me when it was convenient, the way she pulled away whenever I brought up our future, the way she'd canceled on meeting my parents twice but expected me at every single one of her events. I saw the woman who told me she loved me but treated me like an option. I'm not making a scene, I said. I'm just going home. Enjoy your night. I walked out before she could say anything else. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely get my key in the ignition, but once I did, I just sat there in my car in the parking lot for 15 minutes. My phone started buzzing, the group chat, probably Darius checking on me, but I ignored it. I needed to think. The drive home was a blur. I lived about 20 minutes from Apex, and the whole way my mind was racing, replaying not just tonight but the last 6 months. How many times had Simone made me feel crazy for having basic expectations? How many times had she accused me of being insecure when I asked reasonable questions? How many times had I apologized for things that weren't my fault just to keep the peace? Too many. Way too many. I got to our apartment, the one bedroom we'd been sharing for the past year, and let myself in. The place was quiet, decorated with a mix of my stuff and hers, photos of us on the walls from better times. I stood in the living room and looked around, really taking inventory for the first time. The couch. Mine, purchased 2 years before I even met Simone. The coffee table, mine, a gift from my sister when I got my first real job. The TV and entertainment system, mine. The dining table, hers, a cheap set from IKEA that wobbled if you leaned on it wrong. The chairs, hers. The decorative pillows she insisted on, hers. I walked into the bedroom and kept going. The bed frame, mine. The mattress. We'd split it, but I'd paid 70% because I made more money. The dresser, mine. The nightstands, one mine, one hers. The lamp, mine. I opened the closet and saw my clothes on one side, hers on the other. And I realized that even in this shared space, we'd never really merged our lives. We just existed in proximity. The bathroom told the same story. My towels, my shower curtain, my toiletries. She had her makeup bag and some cheap bath products from Target, but everything of value, everything that made the apartment functional and comfortable was mine. I sat down on the edge of the bathtub and laughed. This hollow, bitter sound that surprised me. 2 years. 2 years of building a life with someone who just told a room full of people that I didn't have the right to expect basic respect because we weren't married. My phone buzzed. Text from Darius. Man, you good? That was heavy. I typed back. Yeah, I'm straight. Just needed to leave. Another text, this time from Taylor. Simone is really upset. She's crying. Maybe you should call her? I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me, the part that had been conditioned over 2 years to manage Simone's emotions, wanted to call her. Wanted to apologize for leaving, for embarrassing her, for not just sitting there and taking it like I usually did. But another part of me, a part that was getting louder by the second, was done. I didn't respond to Taylor. Instead, I called Darius directly. He picked up on the second ring. Yo, he said, and I could hear music and voices in the background. You straight? I need a huge favor, I said. Can you come to my place right now? Like, as soon as you can leave. What's going on? I'm moving out tonight. I need help. Silence. Then, tonight? Like right now. Right now. Before she gets home. More silence. I could hear him thinking, weighing whether to try to talk me out of it. Finally, yeah, give me 30 minutes. I gotta drop Taylor off first. Appreciate you, bro. Always. Darius showed up 40 minutes later with his pickup truck and no questions, at least not at first. We stood in my living room, and he looked around, taking in what was about to happen. Then he looked at me, and I could see the concern in his eyes, but also understanding. He'd been there for all of it. The canceled plans, the arguments, the way Simone dismissed my feelings. You sure about this? He asked. I've never been more sure about anything in my life, I said. He nodded. All right then, let's do it. We started with the living room. The couch was heavy as hell, one of those real leather sectionals that cost me 2 months' salary. But we maneuvered it out. The coffee table, the TV stand, the TV itself, my PlayStation and games, my sound system, my books from the bookshelf. I was methodical about it, checking every item, making sure I only took what was mine. I didn't want her to be able to say I stole anything. Didn't want to give her that ammunition. Bro, you're taking the bookshelf too? Darius asked as we unscrewed it from the wall. I bought it. It's mine. She's gonna be mad as hell. She'll be fine, I said, but my hands were shaking again. We moved to the bedroom. I stripped my side of the bed, took my pillows, my comforter, my sheets. The room looked lopsided now, like someone had cut it in half. I packed my clothes, my shoes, my cologne. The framed photo of me and my dad that Simone always said was too sad to have in the bedroom. Into the boxes it all went. Yo, Marcus, Darius said, holding up a watch. This yours or hers? Mine. My grandfather's. He handed it to me carefully, and I wrapped it in a t-shirt before packing it. My phone buzzed again. More texts from the group chat, but I ignored them. I needed to focus. Needed to get this done before I lost my nerve or before Simone came home. The kitchen was where it got petty, and I knew it, but I didn't care. The coffee maker, mine, and Simone used it every single morning. Couldn't function without her coffee. The nice knife set, mine. A gift from my mom when I moved into my first place. The cast iron skillet, mine. The standing mixer I'd bought to make her birthday cake last year, mine. I left her the cheap non-stick pans that were already peeling, the plastic plates from the dollar store, the mismatched utensils. Darius didn't say anything, just kept loading boxes into his truck. We were almost done when I realized I needed to handle the practical shit. I sat down on the floor. There was no furniture left to sit on, and pulled out my phone. Electric bill, in my name. Internet, my name. Water, my name. I logged into each account and sent Simone the login information with a message. You'll need to transfer these or set up your own accounts. I'm canceling service in 2 weeks. I didn't shut them off immediately. I'm not a complete asshole. She'd have time to figure it out. The lease was trickier. We'd both signed it, both were equally responsible, but I'd paid the security deposit and I'd been covering 60% of the rent because I made more money. Simone had argued that splitting it evenly wasn't fair to her, that I should pay more because I could afford it. At the time, I'd agreed because I loved her and I wanted to make things work. Now, looking at it, I could see how I'd been played. I screenshotted the lease agreement and sent it to myself, documentation in case she tried to come after me for her portion. Then I called the landlord's emergency line. This is Marcus Thompson, apartment 4C. I need to let you know I'll be breaking my lease. The landlord, an older woman named Mrs. Chun, sighed. Mr. Thompson, you know there are penalties for that. I know. How much? 2 months' rent. And you lose your security deposit. For $1,000. I winced but nodded even though she couldn't see me. That's fine. I'll pay it. But I need you to know that Simone Davis is still on the lease. She'll be staying. This is just to remove my name and responsibility. She'll have to qualify for the apartment on her own income then. I understand. I'll send you the paperwork tomorrow. I hung up and sat there for a minute, letting it sink in. For $1,000 to walk away from a relationship. Expensive but worth every penny. You good? Darius asked, appearing in the doorway. Yeah, just handling bills and shit. We're loaded up. You taking anything else? I looked around the apartment one more time. It was gutted now, hollow. There were clean squares on the walls where my framed photos had hung, empty spaces where my furniture had been, an echo that hadn't existed before. All that was left was her stuff, and it looked small and cheap in all this empty space. Nah, I think that's everything. You leaving a note or something? I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I needed to. Needed to say something, even if it was just to close the loop. I found a notepad in one of the remaining kitchen drawers and a pen, stood at the counter where the coffee maker used to sit. I wrote, Simone, you're right. We're not married, and I don't own you. So I'm giving you exactly what you want, your freedom. Good luck with everything. I read it over, crumpled it up. Too bitter. Tried again. You were clear about where we stand. I'm just acting accordingly. Best wishes. Still not right. Finally, I settled on something simple. We're not married. You're right. I don't own you. So I left. Marcus, I left the note on the kitchen counter with my key on top, right where the coffee maker had been. The symbolism wasn't lost on me. She'd see it tomorrow morning when she went to make coffee and realized I'd taken that too. Let's go, I said to Darius. We walked out at 1:47 a.m. I locked the door behind me for the last time and didn't look back. I crashed at Darius's place that night, on his couch with a spare blanket and pillow. Couldn't sleep though. Just lay there in the dark, drinking the beer Darius had given me, waiting for my phone to start blowing up. It happened at 3:23 a.m. I was watching the clock. First, a call from Simone. I let it ring. Then a text. Where are you? Another. Marcus, what the hell? Another. Did you seriously take the couch? Are you kidding me right now? Another, you're such a child. We need to talk about this. Another. I'm calling Darius. I muted her number but didn't block it. I wanted to be able to see what she was saying, wanted the documentation. My phone buzzed with Darius's ringtone, and I heard him answer in his bedroom, his voice low. The conversation lasted maybe 3 minutes, and then he came out to the living room. She figured it out, he said unnecessarily. Yeah. She's pissed. Like, really pissed. I bet. She wants to talk to you. I don't have anything to say to her. Darius sat down in the armchair across from me, elbows on his knees. Man, look, I'm on your side. You know that. But this is pretty extreme. You sure you don't want to at least hear her out? I thought about it, really considered it. What's she going to say that changes anything? She gave another dude her number in front of me, then told me I had no right to be upset about it because we're not married. What's there to talk about? Maybe she was drunk. Maybe she didn't mean it. She meant it, I said. And even if she didn't, even if it was just the alcohol talking, it's not the first time she's pulled something like this. You remember 3 months ago when she went to her coworker's apartment at midnight and didn't tell me where she was? Yeah, that was fucked up. And when she posted that Instagram story with those dudes at the club and I asked about it, she called me insecure. I remember. And when I asked her to meet my parents for their anniversary dinner, she said it was too much pressure, that she didn't want labels and expectations. Darius nodded slowly. But when her car needed new brakes, suddenly we were serious enough for me to chip in. I finished. Exactly. She wants all the benefits of a relationship without any of the commitment or respect. I'm done playing that game. He didn't argue with me. Just got up, went to the kitchen, and came back with 2 more beers. We sat there in silence for a while, drinking, not watching TV or looking at our phones, just existing in the quiet. For what it's worth, Darius finally said, Taylor and I have been worried about you for a minute now. The way Simone treats you, it's not right, man. She takes advantage. Why didn't you say anything? Would you have listened? Probably not. When you're in it, when you love someone, you make excuses. You rationalize. You tell yourself things will get better, that you're being too sensitive, that this is just a rough patch. It takes something big, something undeniable to snap you out of it. My phone buzzed again. This time it was the group chat, and I could see the messages piling up even though I'd muted it. I opened it out of morbid curiosity. Taylor. Marcus. Can you please just talk to her? She's devastated. Someone else. What happened? Why did Marcus leave? Another friend. Simone is crying. Someone needs to check on her. Darius, bless him. Maybe ask Simone why he left. That might be more productive. Taylor. She made one mistake and he moved out in the middle of the night. That's insane. Darius. One mistake? Y'all weren't there for the other times. I closed the group chat and muted it entirely. Didn't need that energy. They're already picking sides, I said. Always happens, Darius replied. People who don't know the full story love to have opinions. Yeah. My phone lit up with another unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again, same number, and again. That's probably her calling from someone else's phone, Darius said. I answered, putting it on speaker. What? You can't just block me, Marcus. Simone's voice was raw, like she'd been crying for hours. Maybe she had been. I didn't block you. I muted you. There's a difference. We need to talk about this. You can't just leave like that without even discussing it. Discuss what? You were pretty clear at the bar. I was drunk. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it then? Silence on the other end. I could hear her breathing, shaky and irregular. Simone, you gave another man your number right in front of me. Then when I asked about it, you told me I had no right to be upset because we're not married. What part of that am I misunderstanding? It wasn't like that, she said, her voice small. He asked for my Instagram and I wasn't thinking. Your Instagram requires your phone number? No, but… So you gave it to him willingly. I made a mistake. People make mistakes, Marcus. I rubbed my eyes, suddenly exhausted. You're right. People do make mistakes. But this isn't just about tonight. This is about months of you treating me like I don't matter, like my feelings are inconvenient, like wanting basic respect makes me controlling. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you asked about my day and actually listened to the answer? When was the last time you made plans around my schedule instead of expecting me to rearrange mine? When was the last time you made me feel like I was important to you? She didn't have an answer. That's what I thought, I said quietly. Look, I need to go. I need to sleep. Wait, please. Can we just meet somewhere tomorrow? Talk in person? I can explain everything. Every instinct told me to say no, to cut this off cleanly and move on. But there was still that small voice, the one that remembered why I fell in love with her in the first place, that said maybe I owed her that much. Maybe I owed myself that much. A proper ending instead of this middle-of-the-night disappearing act. Fine, I said. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. The coffee shop on 5th. Thank you, she breathed. Thank you, Marcus. I hung up before she could finish. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there on Darius's couch, watching the ceiling fan rotate, thinking about the past 2 years. All the good times, and there had been good times. The weekend we drove to Savannah and stayed in that bed and breakfast. The time she surprised me with tickets to see my favorite artist. The lazy Sunday mornings in bed, talking about everything and nothing. But then the other memories crept in. The time she screamed at me for 20 minutes because I didn't like the same movie she did. Said I was trying to make her feel stupid. The time she went through my phone while I was in the shower, then got mad at me when I confronted her about it. The time I got a promotion at work and she said, "Finally, now you can take me somewhere nice." Instead of congratulations. How had I ignored all that? Love, probably. Or what I thought was love. Maybe just fear of being alone. Maybe the sunk cost fallacy, the idea that I'd already invested 2 years, so I might as well stick it out. Whatever it was, it had kept me in a relationship that was slowly killing who I was. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister, Jasmine. Heard from Darius what happened. You okay? I smiled despite everything. Of course Darius had called her. They'd been friends since college, before I even met her. I'm good, I typed back. Did what I should have done months ago. Proud of you, she responded. That girl was no good for you. We all saw it. Why didn't anyone say anything? Would you have listened? That was the second time someone had asked me that tonight. The answer was still no. Call me tomorrow, Jasmine sent. I'm serious. Don't go dark on me. I won't. Love you. Love you too, baby brother. Morning came eventually. I got up around 8, showered using Darius's body wash, borrowed his razor, looked at myself in the mirror and barely recognized who I saw. Not because I looked bad, but because I looked different. Lighter somehow, like I'd been carrying weight I didn't realize I had until I put it down. Darius made breakfast, eggs and turkey bacon, toast with butter. We ate in silence for a while, just the sound of forks on plates and the coffee maker gurgling. "You really going to meet with her?" he asked finally. "Yeah. Feels like I should." "You don't owe her closure, man." "Maybe not. But I owe myself the chance to say what I need to say without being interrupted or made to feel crazy." He nodded. "Fair. You want me to come with? Wait in the car or something?" "Nah, I'm good. But appreciate it." "What are you gonna say to her?" I thought about that. The truth. All of it. Everything I've been holding back for months because I was trying to keep the peace. That should be interesting. That's one word for it. I got to the coffee shop 15 minutes early, ordered a black coffee, and sat at a table in the back corner. My hands were steadier than they'd been last night, my mind clearer. I knew what I needed to say, how I needed to say it. I just had to stick to it, not let her crying or manipulation or guilt trips sway me. Simone walked in at 3:07, 7 minutes late, which was actually early for her. She looked rough. No makeup, hair in a messy ponytail, wearing yesterday's clothes. Part of me wanted to feel bad for her. Part of me remembered that I'd looked just as rough when she got home at 4 a.m. last month and accused me of being controlling for asking where she'd been. She sat down across from me without getting coffee, just folded her hands on the table and looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Thanks for meeting me," she said quietly. "Yeah. I don't even know where to start." "Start anywhere." She took a shaky breath. "I'm sorry. For last night, for everything. I was drunk and stupid and I didn't mean any of it." "Which part didn't you mean?" "Giving him your number or telling me I had no right to be upset about it." "All of it. I wasn't thinking. He was just being friendly and I got caught up in the attention and I'm sorry." I sipped my coffee. It was too hot and burned my tongue, but I barely felt it. "Okay. You're sorry. Now what?" "Now we fix this. We talk about it and work through it and move forward." "Move forward to what exactly?" She blinked. "To us. To being together. To fixing our relationship." "Why? Why what? Why fix it?" I leaned forward. "Give me one good reason why I should put myself back in a relationship where I'm constantly made to feel like I'm asking for too much by wanting basic respect and consideration." "It's not like that." "It's exactly like that, Simone. Do you know how many times over the past 6 months I've apologized for things that weren't my fault? Do you know how many times I've rearranged my life to accommodate yours, while you couldn't be bothered to show up for me? That's not fair." "None of this is fair," I said, my voice rising slightly. "What's not fair is me paying for 60% of our life together while you tell people we're just dating. What's not fair is me being called insecure for having reasonable boundaries. What's not fair is me bending over backward to make you happy while you can't even remember my mother's first name." She flinched. "I remember your mother's name." "What is it then?" Silence. "It's Diane," I said quietly. "You met her 4 times. She sent you a birthday card last year. You never thanked her." Simone was crying now, tears streaming down her face, and people at other tables were starting to look. I lowered my voice, leaned back in my chair. "I'm not trying to hurt you," I said. "I'm really not. But I need you to understand something. You don't love me. You love the idea of me, the version of me that's useful. The guy who pays for things and fixes your car and doesn't complain when you disappear for hours without a text. That's not true. I do love you. Then why don't you know anything about me? What's my favorite book? What do I want to do with my career in 5 years? What's my biggest fear?" She stared at me, mouth opening and closing, no words coming out. "Yeah," I said. "That's what I thought." We sat in silence for a long moment. Simone was full on crying now, shoulders shaking, and I felt like the biggest asshole in the world. But I also felt like I was right, and both things existed at the same time. "I can be better," she finally said. "If you tell me what you need, I can be better. We can start over." "I don't want to start over, Simone." I want to be with someone who treats me right from the beginning, not someone I have to train to respect me. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant, but that's what it is. And I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting for scraps of affection. I'm tired of being made to feel guilty for having expectations. I'm tired of being your backup plan while you keep your options open. You're not my backup plan. No? Then why did you give that bartender your number? Why do you still have dating apps on your phone? Her eyes went wide. I don't. You do. I saw them last week when you asked me to check your phone while you were driving. Bumble and Hinge, both active, both with recent messages. She looked down at her hands. I don't talk to anyone on there. I like to see who likes me. It doesn't mean anything. It means you're not committed to this relationship. It means you're always looking for the next thing, the next person, the next source of attention. And I deserve better than that. So that's it. Her voice broke. 2 years and you're just done? You're not even going to try. I finished my coffee, set the cup down carefully. I tried for 2 years, Simone. I tried every single day. I'm just done trying alone. I stood up, pulled out a $10 bill, and left it on the table for my coffee. Simone grabbed my hand, and I looked down at her, saw the desperation in her eyes, the fear of being alone, the realization that her actions had consequences. Please, she whispered, please don't do this. I gently pulled my hand away. Take care of yourself, Simone. I really do wish you well. I walked out of that coffee shop and didn't look back. 3 weeks went by. I found a studio apartment in a better part of town, closer to work. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. My name on the lease, my furniture, my rules. I slept better than I had in months, ate better, even started working out again. Simone had hated when I went to the gym, said I was obsessed with my body, that I cared more about weights than her. Funny how leaving someone toxic makes you realize how much of yourself you'd lost. My phone would buzz occasionally with texts from her. At first, they were angry, you're going to regret this. You threw away something good because of your pride. Then they turned pleading. I miss you. Can we please just talk? Then philosophical. I've been doing a lot of thinking and I understand now why you left. I didn't respond to any of them. There was nothing left to say. Darius came over one Saturday with beer and pizza. We watched the game, my team won for once, and just hung out like we used to before Simone started monopolizing all my time. You seem good, he said during halftime. I am good. Really good, actually. Taylor's still giving me shit about encouraging you to leave. Tell Taylor that Taylor doesn't know the full story and should mind her business. He laughed. I did. She didn't appreciate it. Simone been saying stuff? Oh yeah, you're an asshole, you blindsided her. You never communicated what you needed. All the greatest hits. Of course. Rachel posted some vague Facebook status about men who abandon women over small mistakes. I shook my head. Let them think whatever they want. I know the truth. That's enough. And it was. For the first time in years, I felt at peace with my decisions, with my life, with myself. I wasn't angry anymore, wasn't bitter. I was just free. A month after the coffee shop meeting, I ran into Simone at Target. I was buying towels, I'd finally decided to replace the old ones, and she was in the home goods section too, looking at picture frames. We made eye contact, and for a second I thought about turning around and leaving. But I didn't. Hey, I said. Hey. She looked different. Thinner maybe, or just tired. How are you? Good. You? I'm okay. Living with my parents right now. Couldn't afford the apartment on my own. Sorry to hear that. It's fine. Probably for the best anyway. She fidgeted with the frame in her hands. I've been in therapy. Working on myself. That's good. Really? Yeah. My therapist says I have attachment issues. Fear of commitment stemming from childhood abandonment. She laughed, but it was hollow. Bet you could have told her that for free. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded. I really am sorry, she said. For everything. You deserved better than how I treated you. I appreciate you saying that. Are you seeing anyone? I've been on a few dates. Nothing serious yet. Just taking it slow. That's good. That's smart. She looked at me, really looked at me, and I could see the regret in her eyes. I hope you find someone who appreciates you. You're a good man, Marcus. I just wasn't ready for a good man. I hope you figure out what you're ready for, I said gently. I really do. We stood there for another moment. Two people who used to know each other, who used to share a life, now strangers in a Target aisle. Finally, she smiled. A sad, small smile, and walked away. I bought my towels and went home. It's been 3 months now since that night at Apex Lounge. I'm doing more than good. I'm thriving. I got a promotion at work, moved into a bigger place with a balcony, started taking piano lessons because I always wanted to learn, and Simone said it was a waste of money. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with, started going to my nephew's basketball games again, signed up for a kickball league. I dated here and there. Nothing serious, like I told Simone, but I was learning what I wanted, what I wouldn't tolerate, what real partnership looked like. I met a woman named Keisha at a book club Jasmine dragged me to. She was smart, funny, had her own career and apartment and life. We went to dinner, and when the check came, she insisted on splitting it. Next one's on you, she said with a smile. There was going to be a next one. That felt good. Different, right? We talked about our families, our jobs, our dreams. She asked questions and actually listened to the answers. She remembered things I told her, brought them up in later conversations. When I mentioned I was nervous about a big presentation at work, she texted me good luck the morning of. Small things, basic things, things that should have been normal but felt revolutionary after Simone. Can I ask you something? Keisha said over coffee one morning. We'd been seeing each other for about 3 weeks. Sure. What happened with your last relationship? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you seem like you're still processing something. I thought about how to answer that. She wanted all the benefits of a relationship without any of the commitment or respect. I finally got tired of it and left. Good for you. That takes courage. Or stupidity. I'm still not sure which. Definitely courage. A lot of people stay in situations that hurt them because leaving is scary. It was scary, I admitted. Scariest thing I've ever done. But also the best. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Well, for what it's worth, I think you made the right choice. And I'm glad you did. Because otherwise we wouldn't be having coffee right now. I smiled. Yeah, me too. People ask me sometimes if I regret how I handled things with Simone. If I wish I'd done it differently, been more mature about it, given her another chance. The answer is no. Could I have handled it better? Maybe. I could have had a long conversation, suggested counseling, given her time to change. But here's what I learned. You can't fix someone who doesn't think they're broken. And you can't save a relationship where only one person is trying. So I left in the middle of the night with my couch and my coffee maker and my dignity. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Because she was right about one thing: we weren't married. I didn't own her. But I also didn't owe her my peace of mind, my self-respect, or my future. I didn't owe her another chance to make me feel small or crazy, or like asking for basic decency was asking for too much. I owed myself more than that. And so I gave it to myself. Freedom. Peace. A life where I'm not constantly walking on eggshells or managing someone else's emotions at the expense of my own. A life where I can drink coffee on my balcony in the morning and not feel anxious about what mood my partner will be in. A life where I'm enough, just as I am, without having to prove it every single day. That's not selfish. That's survival. Last week, Darius told me that Simone is dating someone new. Some guy she met at her therapy group, which seems like a red flag, but that's not my circus anymore. He showed me a picture from her Instagram, them at a restaurant, her smiling big, him looking at the camera. The caption was something about new beginnings and grateful for growth. I felt nothing. Not jealous, not vindicated, not sad. Just nothing. And that's how I knew I was truly over it, truly healed. Because when you're really done with someone, their life doesn't affect yours anymore. They become a chapter in your story, not the whole book. You good? Darius asked, watching my face. Yeah, man. I'm good. I'm really good. And I am. So that's my story. The story of how I walked away from someone who couldn't appreciate me and found myself in the process. The story of how I chose my own peace over someone else's comfort. The story of how I learned that sometimes love isn't enough. There has to be respect, consideration, partnership, effort from both sides. My hands aren't shaking anymore. I sleep through the night. I laugh with my friends, spend time with my family, invest in hobbies and interests and goals that are mine alone. I'm building a life that I don't need to escape from, with people who actually give a damn about me. And if I ever find myself in another relationship, it'll be with someone who knows my mother's name, who asks about my day and listens, who treats me like a partner instead of an accessory. Someone who doesn't need to be reminded that I'm human, that I have feelings, that I deserve basic respect. Someone who makes me feel like choosing them was the easiest decision in the world, not the hardest. Until then, I'm good where I am, on my own, in my own space, living my own life, free from the weight of loving someone who couldn't love me back the way I needed. She was right. We weren't married. I didn't own her, but I own myself now, and that's everything. Thank you for watching all the way through. There's another story to your left screen. You'll enjoy it more than this one.